That's right, welcome back to Cheaper Pop Culture. What, did you think the main show was the only one that was gonna get the Halloween treatment? And were you expecting a special Halloween edition of something else, like Monday Night Wrong's coming back anytime soon? Or ever? Well, if you were thinking that, I feel sorry for you because you're getting this show, and don't even get me started on kayfabe science because somehow Cheaper Pop Culture has finally become more popular. Now sure, the show where I'm wearing a crappy costume and playing a different character would make more sense for Halloween, but too bad, you're still getting this one anyway. But speaking of crappy costumes, well, today I give you... We're spending this All Hallows Eve talking about some cheap piece of plastic that you convinced your parents to get just so you could use it once and then never think about it ever again. And speaking of which, yes, I did fall for it and buy one of those McDonald's plastic Halloween buckets. And yeah, I did it only because I had them when I was a kid, although back in my day, not to sound like an old man yelling at clouds, but we had an actual lid instead of this weird piece of plastic that keeps the handle from going all the way down. I mean, what's up with this? And does anyone else think it's weird that McDonald's switched from having plastic straws to having paper straws? And then they followed that up by giving us a plastic Halloween bucket. That seems a little hypocritical. Oh, and don't even get me started on the fact that McDonald's has switched from paper cups to plastic cups now too. Weird. Alright, anyway, let's put all that aside and let's start getting into it, because now is supposed to be the scariest time of the year and whatnot. Although, truth be told, I've never been that big of a Halloween guy. I just never really get all that impressed by scary stuff. Especially considering I'm not part of the generation that gets scared at CGI and plastic dolls. Oh, look at the eyes, they're so creepy! Blue Will Smith is gonna haunt your nightmares! I don't know what to tell you. I don't get creeped out, I don't get douche chills, and I also don't cringe. And if you do cringe, maybe pro wrestling is a little too intense for you. As far as I'm concerned, the only one who's allowed to cringe is my man right here. And I'm not talking about Battle Cat, I'm talking about when he's cringer. And yes, I guess I just did what you kids are calling doxing nowadays. But hey, I also revealed myself to be Dr. Dave earlier, so hey, the cat's out the bag. No offense. Anyway, enough chit chat. Let me start getting into this Kit Kat and start getting real about Halloween costumes, as in hyper real Halloween costumes. Now, some might call this hyper realistic, but it's not hyper realistic. Who actually looks like this? Sure, it has a lot more detail, but this is not even close to what any of these people really look like. I mean, come on, let's take The Rock for example. This doesn't look like Dwayne Johnson, it looks like the love child of Seth Meyers and Lou Diamond Phillips. And what is up with Austin's goatee? Whose goatee looks like this? It's in the shape of Bomberman. And if you look real close, they're actually two different machos. One is slightly better than the other, and these aren't too far off, but the real winner, and to me the only one that's actually accurate, is of Paul Bearer. But at least they're not too expensive. I mean, they're $50. And how much is the Rock one? The Rock is $60? The Rock's one looks worse, and that's more money? If you really want to hyper dress up like The Rock, why don't you just wear track pants with a plain t-shirt? And the really weird thing is that Rock mask looks almost more like a Michael Myers mask than a Michael Myers mask looks like nowadays. Alright, screw this hyper-real crap. Let's go back in the day where everything was simple, and it might not have been photorealistic, but at least we knew what everybody was supposed to be. Oh, and speaking of knowing what things are supposed to be, I want to say, this is called a Reese's. It says so right on the package. Reese says it is not a Reese. Anybody calls it a Reese is wrong. Okay, now here's the classic from the 80s that every kid remembers. This is what pretty much every Halloween costume was for about 10 years. Just a plastic face mask and a plastic smock. Now, some of these are a bit better made than others, such as easily recognizable Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. But then you have some more obscure choices like Itchy from Dick Tracy, the Riddler from the Batman cartoon even though that came out years later, and Johnny Depp from Benny and June. And don't worry, these are high quality costumes as said by this label that you cannot remove. Plus, check out the age range. You'll feel like a real wrestler because if you're in high school still wearing these, you are definitely going to get beat up. But hey, at least blood is easy to clean off of those plastic smocks. Alright, let's remember, it's Halloween, and Halloween is all about the kids, as in the current kids and not the kids of the 80s, so why don't we take a look at some of the Halloween costumes that kids today have to endure. I mean, do you really expect me to believe that this Daniel Bryan face mask isn't really just a repurposed Duck Dynasty costume? But I have to say that this Roman Reigns really ain't too bad. The hair looks good, the goatee works, and it also has that blank dumb expression on his face just like the real Roman has. And then we have this, Al Borland dressed up as Drew McIntyre. And then we have Bullet Club member and OC member Doug Gallows with long hair. Wait, no, I think that's AJ. And hey, even TNA is getting in on the fun with Olympic gold medal hero, fat-faced Bruce Willis. Okay, forget all that stuff I just said about today's kids. Let's focus on the adults today. Let's focus on all the people that used to be kids and are having trouble growing out of it. Not speaking from personal experience or anything. Alright, so here let's return to some classic fare, and these costumes were made for people old enough to remember what these wrestlers were like back during their early days as trick-or-treaters. And let's stick with TNA, as they also have their own version of a Hulk Hogan costume, even though I gotta admit the plain red shirt is a bit of a cop-out. Alright, and look, here's another one where hyper-reality isn't too bad, except, well, wig is not included, yet again, just like it's not included for the Macho Man. And if you look at this one, they're recommending that you also buy the wig kit, 2 pairs of sunglasses, and wrestling boots. And when the base costume itself costs $135, you're gonna end up spending around 2 C-notes just to get the complete look. And if you really want that costume that badly, I kinda feel like you probably don't have $200 just lying around. Okay, so you want to go down the cheap route? Then let's really go down Cheap Street. But I'm not talking about just the people who buy costumes. How about the people who make costumes? And some of them have cut way too many corners. Alright, so this is just a hoodie combined with pants. Nothing screams Macho Man like having your top and bottom all connected together as one. This is like something a baby would wear, like what Ric Flair wore for his last match. I swear, my friend's 5-month-old has something just like this. Anyway, moving on and sticking with the Nature Boy, how about this? Woo! It's just a bathrobe, a shiny bathrobe. And now, in case you're wondering, no, it doesn't include the wig. So all you're getting is this red robe, and that's it. No boots, no nothing else. And it costs $100. Next. Alright, here we have the Stone Cold Steve Austin costume. Weird that he's wearing the Intercontinental title, but he is a former IC champion, so alright. But it doesn't come with the costume anyway, so no matter. And neither do these cheap looking jorts, or the boots. It's just a vest. Apparently it's just a vest. And there's not even anything on the back of it. How lazy can you get? What, did they run out of tinfoil? Alright, you know what? I shouldn't be down on anybody's finances. Maybe there's a reason why you had to go to Discount TNA World. How about we do you one better? After all, this is cheaper pop culture. Let's go to a more generic world. Things outside WWE for that wrestling Halloween feel. Looking at this, I feel like professional wrestling really needs to start reinforcing weight classes yet again. And I also want to say that whoever gets this costume clearly doesn't think it out. Good luck going to a Halloween party and, you know, sitting down on the couch or anything. Although I suppose you are your own couch when you wear this costume. And yet, here we go, we have yet another costume with a similar idea, that of a luchador, but this time setting you up for the Doomsday Device. Although I have to say, the guy up top, look, you could have put a little more effort into this. You're just wearing a t-shirt for crying out loud. This ain't a Rock costume. Way to phone it in there. But you know what, for this category, let's not just stay with the complete generics, as there is a familiar face that applied some similar tactics. And going back to the inflatables, of course we have the Andre. While you might not be able to teach 7 feet tall, apparently you can inflate it. But let's see what the damage is on this. $100 for Andre. And 60 is not too bad for this one. $35. Alright, this is a steal. Now granted, again, you gotta buy something other than just a plain white t-shirt if you're gonna go for this one, but I can sign off on this. I think it was Lindsay Lohan in Mean Girls who said, yeah, I seen Mean Girls, so what, big deal, don't judge me. Anyway, I think it was Lindsay Lohan who said that Halloween for some girls is just an excuse to dress up like a slut. And in that case, I feel like there are some wrestling fans out there who are going to choose this as their favorite category for, reasons. Here we have Sexy Hulk Hogan, followed by another version of Sexy Hulk Hogan. And there's also 2 different sexy versions of the Macho Man, as well as the Ultimate Warrior, which is weird because on the back of this costume there's a picture of the actual Ultimate Warrior, so I just think it's weird to have a product that blatantly highlights how inaccurate said product is. Oh, plus someone else just wants to sell bathrobes again because here we have Sexy Ric Flair. Again, wig not included. And then we have the Sexy Undertaker. And then we have this costume, which I'm not sure, is it supposed to be Sexy Roddy Piper or is it supposed to be Ronda Rousey? Either way, it serves as yet another example of why I'm pretty sure most of Ronda's merch sales really should go to the Rowdy one instead. Yeah, that's right, I'm using Halloween as yet another excuse to point out the fact that Ronda Rousey can't draw. Well, that's going to do it for this one. Join me next time where we're still going to be trick-or-treating, even though it's going to be completely inappropriate and probably not get anything. Anyway, bye.